Anthony, tell us about how you got involved with AFC Wimbledon.
I came over here in March 2020 with a good friend of mine to construct a pitch here on behalf of Buckingham Group, the company basically who built the whole stadium. Yeah, so that's how I got involved.
Yeah. And what's your background? Did you study?
I have an honours degree in horticulture and sports affairs management. So that covered everything from growing every single thing you could possibly think of, to also the construction side of it as well. So doing designs, CAD drawings and stuff like that as well, and also the science then behind it, what goes into it, you know.
So what year did you move here and where were you living?
I moved over here in 2020, March 2020, a week before the full lockdown. So constructing the pitch in that time was very challenging. It was basically, we lived on site here in a snooze pod, so basically it was like a container that was furbished into a miniature house. It was 5-star accommodation. It had flat screen TVs and a fridge, cookers, whatever you could think of what's in it. It was fantastic. It was good because we needed to be on site every day. We were working 7 days a week for 3 or 4 months to ensure that the pitch was constructed in time for the club and stuff like that. So yeah, just to meet criteria. You know.
Let me get this straight. You were living in Dublin.
Living in Dublin,
with your friends and family all there. You
Yeah.
left there. You came here
Yeah.
just before lockdown.
Yeah.
And you were locked down.
Yeah.
Literally here, living in a
yeah,
pod.
we the only time we ever left was to go shopping to get supplies and stuff like that. But we'd everything we needed here. We just basically worked 7 days a week. Just the two of us. So only two of us built it. And me and my good friend Dominic. And yeah, that's what we've done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if I look at when we were at the old Plough Lane, you had certain grounds which had just grass pitches.
Yeah.
And then you had certain teams like Queen's Park Rangers, for example, and Luton, who had that had plastic pitches.
Yeah.
Now, when I speak to like opposition players, they're saying, "Wow, this is an amazing pitch." So what is the what is the technology behind it?
This pitch was built on a floodplain. So this site flooded. So basically that's why the pitch is up at a camber that it is. It's up high off the ground, so that if potentially the Wandle or any river ever floods, the pitch won't be harmed because it's up so high off the edge of the pitch.
Is that why the slopes
That's
are so
the camber.
down?
Yeah. It's to deal with the flooding and stuff like that. And also it's for view for photographers and stuff like that. Because if it's flat, you won't really get the angles that they like. And plus it helps with ball roll as well. But the camber is basically to deal with the floods and stuff like that. So the minute the water gets on, this pitch, it won't flood for that reason. The water just won't hold because it's a sand-based pitch. Yeah.
Great. So, how much of this is actual seed and grass from seed, and how much of it is just other materials?
I think it's 25-30% stitching. I'll see if I can find a bit for you there. So that's a piece of stitching there, an fish. So what the stitching does basically is the stitching holds the root zone in place. So if you didn't have stitching on a sand-based pitch, the minute that you get a divot, it'll go straight down to the roots, rip the roots out of the ground. You've a little bit of chance of getting it back. But the fact that the root zone is connected to the stitching in the pitch, basically, the stitching goes down 180 mil into the pitch. So it's quite a lot. Basically, the roots then will drive down and wrap itself around the hybrid stitching that's in the pitch. And basically then every year when we go to rip it up, well, not rip it up, we corrow it off, so we use a rake, a corrow machine that basically takes about 100-120 mil sometimes off the top of the surface, goes down, shaves it off, gets all the organic matter build up. So the amount of games that you have on the pitch, you're going to get clumps of grass that will not come up with the mower when you clean them up. So they all just sit at the surface and create black layer organic matter basically. So that's, you might see areas like the grass won't be growing well is because the organic matter build-up is so high in it. Grass can't grow in organic matter. It won't. Its seed will come up and the minute it's pressed down into it. So that's why every year you have to renovate a hybrid pitch. So come May every year, take the top surface off and get it really clean as possible. But the thing is, you can't touch the fibres that are in the pitch. Like, they're not cheap. It's an expensive process to do, but it holds the pitch so well, it's worth spending the money on it. But you cannot basically get someone who doesn't know what they're doing to come in and renovate the pitch every year. It has to be somebody that knows, because if the coral goes down too low and rips up the fibres out of the pitch, you're in big trouble. Like, and they're not cheap to replace, you know.
So if this was just a grass pitch, I suppose it would be a huge challenge in terms of having a men's game on a Saturday, a women's game on a Sunday, maybe an academy game on a Wednesday, maybe a rugby game on the following Saturday.
So what the stitching does is it just holds it in place. So if you've got a tackle, as I was saying, you've got a tackle in that area, with the stitching you have a chance to get the grass back. The boot will not go straight down into the sand or into the playing surface. It basically just shaves off the top. So basically it just takes the leaf off, the crown of the plant is still in there. So the grass will, if it gets good conditions like today, or it's underneath the grow, like, it has some chance of coming back. But without them good conditions, the grass plant won't come back. You can't grow grass without sun and heat. It's impossible. Do you know what I mean?
So are there any challenges when you're playing, let's say, 3 games a week on this pitch?
100%. There are definitely challenges. Like, once that grass plant gets basically kicked on, or once you lose that coverage in an area, you don't have ideal conditions. Like 1/10 of the stand, 1/10 of the stadium, I apologise, will get sunlight from September to, I'd say, probably the end of January, 2 weeks into February, it's starting to get sunlight again. But from September to that time, it doesn't get any natural light. So no natural light, you can't expect grass to grow. It needs it to grow, like. Can't recover without it either. So the minute that you lose that coverage in them areas, you're relying on weather basically to try and get it back to what it was. Because once the grass plant's gone, you need weather to basically bounce it back, like, you know.
So obviously things that you do, let's say during a game, is divot the pitch before, after. Why is that important?
Basically just to try and close in. It's like a scar on your hand or something like that. You need to close in the wound so it has a chance of knitting back together, and basically, it's aesthetically, the pitch will look better the more divot that you do and stuff like that. It has to be done. It has to.
And also, you put new seed down as well.
Yes,
in
we
between
tried.
games.
So last week we overseeded the pitch. With the amount of fixtures that we have coming up, we overseeded basically just to give it every possible chance that if the weather's right or it's on our side, there's a chance that seed will pop. Underneath the light is a great chance of popping, but out here where you're relying solely on the sun in the middle of February to try and grow grass is tough, very hard, like. So it's better to have it in the ground and hopefully it'll take off than not have it. You know what I mean?
And also, we've seen these machines. We can talk about them as lights on wheels that you seem to bring out after certain games. What does that do?
So it's fantastic. The club have invested, which is absolutely brilliant. I can't thank them enough because it's made my job a lot easier. So we can focus on the goal mouths and stuff like that, and areas where the light is maintaining grass. It's like it was never played on, because you have the light basically to constantly turn it around and get it growing back again. If you look at these Premier League clubs and they're full sets of lights on the pitch, like, you can't grow grass in the winter without lights. So it's just about trying to maintain the sward as best we can with what we have. It's a fantastic piece of kit though, and be lost without it, like, you know.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I think one of the great things about this new stadium is the pitch. And if you speak to players on both sides and management and staff, everyone thinks it. So thanks very much.
No worries, Michael. No worries.
To you.
No worries.
All the best.
Thank you.